Hey guys, what's up? Son of Chelsea here. Now, back again, as you can see, I've got a guest on, and we're going to be talking about the big game on Sunday, Arsenal against Chelsea. So, like I usually do, I usually have Cookie on, but today I've got Liam at Liam PL Edwards. Is that the right?
That's
I got
the
it right.
correct handle.
Definitely. He's got his own YouTube channel, GoonerNewsTV, where he discusses Arsenal. He's also appeared on Arsenal Fan TV several times. So, thanks for coming on, mate. How you doing?
Doing very well, thank you. Thank you for inviting me onto your channel.
No problem. So it's a massive game, of course. Getting an Arsenal perspective, it seems to be a thing I regularly do on here. I think Arsenal are currently top of the table, level with Leicester on points. How would you evaluate Arsenal's season so far?
Very good question. Top of the table. I don't think you can ask for much more, really. 44 points. We're level with Leicester, also on 44. Just got better goal difference at the moment. And I think with Arsenal's season, you can't really fault it as such. You could look at individual games and say, if that was 2-3 seasons ago, we could have been fourth or fifth, where we currently are. No one is really as such running away with it. I don't think, you look at one team and say, yep, they're going to go and win it. I think it's very much in the balance between anyone. I think it's Arsenal, City, give the respect to Leicester. I think they really do have a serious fighting chance about it. Spurs are even up there. I don't think Palace and all them lot will get near the top to win it. Then again, there is a long way to go, and obviously we've made the one signing of Mohamed El Neni, strengthening to the squad. And what I've seen of him on the old YouTube, I think with Arsenal at the moment, I think we've just got to take it game by game. Because in previous seasons, was it 2 seasons ago, we were kind of in the similar position, but we kind of mucked it up against the bigger teams. The one difference I've seen this season with Arsenal, though, we could be playing really poorly. For example, Newcastle, who were actually probably the better team that day, but we still grinded out a hard result. And that's just the difference with Arsenal this season. It was one little poor tap-in, I think it was from Gigelny, but it's 3 points at the end of the day, and that's what you need. You need the points.
What do you think from Arsenal? Because you have said Arsenal obviously have been in this position before. I remember 2 seasons ago, Arsenal were top of the league to about probably March or whatever when it was. And then you fell off because, of course, all the big teams. Of course, I have seen that difference with Arsenal. You're now picking up points against the bigger teams. You're now actually turning up for the big games. What do you think the biggest difference has been this season? Is it mentality change? Is it tactics? Is it one individual player? Is it a group of players who have now decided, like, do you know what I mean? Players that maybe haven't been performing in previous seasons, like a player like Ozil, maybe in big games, is now performing.
I think it's a bit of both, to be honest with you, man. I think it's a bit of all of them. I think mentally, I think we've changed in the sense of, I think we actually think we've got a genuine chance of winning the league for a start. I think previous seasons, you could say, Chelsea was so strong, City, United for a bit, Arsenal were just always just behind, dropping off. We just had nothing. But I think we've actually got a solid defence, we've got a solid midfield, and we've got a solid attack going forward. And everything's just starting to connect. And I think because the Premier League is as much as I want to say we fought really hard against really good teams and we won the Premier League, I think it's safe to say Chelsea aren't around us, United, and then it's City, somehow Leicester up there. So if I'm being realistic, I think it's going to be between us and City. I think we've got a good chance. Sanchez, Ozil. I think just Cech obviously coming in just raises the hopes and the expectation. And I think everyone, Coughlin. I mean, who would have thought of him? He was on loan at Charlton. Now he's praised by everyone. Some are saying maybe the next Vieira. But I think it's a bit of everything, mate.
You talked about Petr Cech there. I think he's been one of the key parts of your success this season. What has he brought to Arsenal that you haven't had? I mean, you've had goalkeepers like Szczesny, like not Ospina because he's only been recently in the club. I remember Almunia, Fabianski. I think you've had in recent years. Yeah. What has he brought? Because I personally don't think Arsenal, in my opinion, you can go back as far as about Jens Lehmann, since you've had a real number one in there that I think that you could trust. So, what do you think it has done to, of course, your fan base as well, with the confidence within it's given to your team and your defence? The fact is, like a game on Sunday against Stoke, where you can trust now that a keeper against, say, a Newcastle where you're struggling, he makes that key save and you eventually go on and win the game. What do you think are the key things, in your opinion, that Cech has done to Arsenal?
What has Cech not done for us? I mean, he's in a you're right with that. I mean, Lehmann, Seaman, those were the days where he had a big established goalkeeper, but I mean they're nothing compared to Petr Cech. I mean, he is literally world class. He's 33 years of age, I think he is. Yeah. To nick him off one of our massive rivals, 10, 12 million, whatever we paid for him, and what he's contributed to the team. Arsenal fans just adore him. They love him. I know he's a Chelsea legend, and he served you. You won Champions League. Amazing moments with Chelsea. But when Cech joined, I think Arsenal fan, it was just like a new bit of life. We couldn't believe we were seeing Ozil, Sanchez, Cech, because we never really had that for quite a few years, and it was tough times. But yeah, seeing these kind of players in Arsenal shirts, it was just phenomenal. But I mean, Petr Cech, he's already saved us 12, 15 points. And John Terry even came out and said that, and he was right. At times where it's just the little things where we could have had goals conceded, but if you had Chesney between the posts, that would have gone in the back of the net. You
don't need to convince me about Cech's ability. I mean, it's one thing that he's consistently done. Even last year at Chelsea, when he wasn't playing week in, week out, he still came in. I remember him making a save from Lukaku, and that's just what he brings you. He's absolutely stunning, world-class keeper. I think he's the best keeper in the league. On Arsenal, more like Wenger. We see the Wenger in, Wenger out. That's obviously been kind of silenced this year. I've sometimes jokingly claimed that Arsenal seem to have the most bipolar fans in the world. 1 week it's Arsene Wenger is the greatest manager in the Premier League. Next week it's, well, he's not really there anymore. He ain't going to win us the Premier League, so let's get him out. I know, obviously, speaking to you before, you've never really been on the Arsene Wenger out camp, and really I don't want to ask that at the moment because I think it's a bit of a stupid question, because look at where you're on the table. I think there's no reason to be debating that. What do you think about Arsene Wenger in recent years? I know he's been constrained with the financial side of the game with the new stadium, but what do you think? I'm sure as you who's very positive towards Wenger, what do you think of him in the past kind of recent times? Do you think there are criticisms of him, and how do you think he's got through that period? And how do you think that he's went through those periods? Do you think there are things that he's done wrong in the past that maybe he's doing better now? Just let me know on that.
I think with Arsene Wenger, I think, at times I think he's been quite stubborn in the sense of he never would change anything because it was like his way. In a sense, like, there'd be little things like, oh, if the journalists and the fans all said, he needs to be changed here, then he would be like, oh no, it's my way, Arsene Wenger's way. And it's like Olympiacos when we lost 3-2 it was, and he was happy with his choice with playing Ospina and benching Cech. When really, literally everyone knew you just bought a world-class keeper, but you're benching him. I've never been a Wenger out. I've always backed him at times. I think when it was with transfers as such, I don't think that was really... I don't think it's really his fault as such, because at the end of the day, if the owner said, right, here's 200 million, you've got to spend it, or you're sacked. He's going, all right, I'll spend it. At the end of the day, let's be real. So, obviously, that's never going to happen, but I feel like that was partly down to the board and trying to manage building the new stadium.
And after playing 1 minute of football for Chelsea, yes, you heard me right, 1 minute of football. He came on as a late substitute in September for the game away at Walsall in the League Cup, and I think it just sums up once again why our board currently are not doing what's required to buy the best players, and it's just another